stillness of the dark, cool barn. And then goddamn Beryl do-si-doed in, saying, "Did you get her?" And Ghost dropped the puppy and leaped up, contorting and snapping while I drew the leash high on her neck and ordered, "Get out," keeping my voice even and low. I was aware of Beryl retreating, but I focused on Ghost. I held on even when she bit through my jeans into flesh. The pain took seconds to register, and I let out a grunt. I knew Ghost's heart must be racing. I kept calm because she needed me to be calm. The instant she stopped fighting and cowered, panting, I led her straight out of the barn, keeping the leash high to let her know I was in charge. The puppies tripped along behind us, and I walked past Beryl into a day so bright I was blinded by the reflection from one of the steel sculptures marking the property. I blinked rapidly and kept moving forward. A flick of my hand was enough for Birdie to take his place at my heel, and his ease reassured the stray. We strode into the green fields, blooming with chrome yellow star thistle, black-eyed Susan, and golden poppies. I breathed in air so crystalline it went through me, sharp and pure. I ignored my creaking boots and listened to the pups dashing joyously through the grasses until we reached a narrow creek flickering silver over gray stones. The creek was lower than I'd ever seen this early in the season. The winter rains hadn't been nearly enough after years of drought. I stopped to let Ghost drink, pleased that she was already accepting me. The puppies approached Birdie and sniffed him, jumping in his face as puppies do, before he gave them a level glare. They scampered off to splash at the edge of the water and snap at skeeter bugs. They were insanely cute. About 9 weeks old, with round bellies and soft, fuzzy fur. When Ghost didn't attempt to return to the barn, I knew there were only 2 pups. I wanted to stay there in the dazzle of light, watching the pups play, basking in the sun's warmth, smelling the wet soil and rich vegetative rot at the edge of the water, and hearing dragonflies flitting by. I wanted time to stop and worries to evaporate like the dew from the drying grasses. I wanted to be alone with the dogs and the chilly water and the rocks born before time, and a sky that was so very blue but not blue, an illusion of clarity and color. I looked back and saw Beryl making her way across the field toward me. I didn't care that my truck was parked by the barn. I peeled off my shirt, tied the sleeves together, and looped it over my neck and shoulder. I scooped up the puppies and placed them inside the sling. They squirmed against my ribs before settling down. I liked the solidity of their little bodies snuggling against mine. I waded across the shallowest part of the creek, hoping to stretch my boots. My right leg throbbed where Ghost had bitten me, and a rivulet of blood ran down to my sock as I cut through another field to reach the road leading into town. My heels clacked against the asphalt as we walked by a vineyard, which was beginning to leaf out, and the dogs and I found a rhythm. The yellow roses planted at the border of the vineyard were about to bloom. "Yellow like canaries in a coal mine," my mother used to say, because the sensitive roses would be the first to indicate problems with the soil or water. An engine's roar broke the silence, and I moved to the dirt path beside the road and glanced behind me. A tricked-out Ford slowed, and I recognized one of the hardware store jerks as he bashed his horn and screeched, "Crazy whore!" before tearing off. Birdie tensed momentarily before dropping to his usual pace. I scratched his head. "The grand thing about you, Birdie, is that you don't rush into brawls. Now the mystery is, how can that little prick afford a raptor?" My dog wagged his long tail. I thanked him for modeling good social behavior for Ghost and discussed my need for a new truck. Not brand new, but something reliable. I know you'll miss the accumulated smells, but rest assured that any vehicle of mine will smell like dogs given sufficient time. We arrived at the edge of the half-mile comprising downtown Coyote Run. Many shops were boarded up, and others looked as if they were begging for a wrecking ball to put them out of their misery. The veterinary clinic was an avocado